8 days in, and still overall I'm really enjoying my time with the Samsung Galaxy Note 2. How's it going, guys? I'm Aaron from PhoneDog.com, and if you haven't been following the video series, I'm day 8 in of a 30-day challenge with the Samsung Galaxy Note 2. This is Samsung's latest device, their latest super phone, as I'm sure they'd like me to call it, with a 1.6 gigahertz quad-core Exynos CPU, a 5.5-inch Super AMOLED HD display, an 8-megapixel camera with 1080p HD video recording, a 3,100 milliamp hour battery, and Android 4.1, also known as Jelly Bean, with TouchWiz. Now, specs aside, there's really a lot to like about this device, because obviously for some it's going to be a little bit too large, but for others I can really see this device being useful even if you don't like the size that much. And I talked about this in the review, but even for those people that don't like the size as much, it may be a little bit too big for them. I think they can find a lot to like in the battery life. So you look at a device like this with a 3,100 milliamp hour battery, and granted, when the US versions arrive with 4G LTE connectivity, it's obviously going to take its toll on battery life. That said, 3,100 milliamp hours is nothing to scoff at, and I think for people like road warriors, people that travel on a regular basis, this can be a great device for them, regardless of the size. And then, of course, it's going to appeal to those content creators, the same people that the Galaxy Note appealed to, content creators, those that enjoy browsing the web, watching TV, watching movies, maybe listening to music on their device. They'll find a lot to like in the Note 2 as well. Let me tell you a little bit about what I'm finding, though. 8 days into this, still loving the battery life. I took it on a business trip to New York, absolutely found it great in terms of battery life. It lasted about 28 hours finally before the device got to about 15 or 10%. And I plugged it into the charger. So impressive all around. Granted, this is an HSPA Plus device because this is the international version, but really impressive battery life all around. And obviously I'm getting back to using the S Pen. They've refined the S Pen on the Galaxy Note 2. It's much easier to use on this device, and they've added some nifty features. For example, you can see when I'm hitting the apps button here, for example, and scrolling over things, and you can see my cursor on the display. Really beneficial there. Obviously they've made the device itself a little bit longer, a little bit wider, easier. Kind of reminds me of the Galaxy Note 10.1 stylus, or S Pen I should say, in terms of usability and how it feels in the hand. Android 4.1 is very nice, but I'm really finding myself using the premium suite here, the Note features, as you can see, no pun intended, the Note features here. And I can come in here and I can draw, I can type, and I'm using this quite a bit for taking notes in between conference calls or when I'm on a video chat with somebody and we need to take notes for something. I was on a chat and we were talking about Q4 stuff, and working on holiday buying guides and working on some things like that and some advertising deals. I found myself taking quick notes on the Galaxy Note 2. So much like I did with the 30-day challenge of the Note, I'm finding this S Pen functionality to be very useful. And then obviously you have added features like this, the shape match, the formula match, and the handwriting to text, where it's really beneficial as well if you want to use your handwriting and convert it to text, and more. Battery life's been great. Overall, really enjoying Jelly Bean, though like I said in day number 4, I'm not really seeing a huge benefit in terms of speed. Project Butter's great, but I'm not seeing any sort of like overarching speed boost on this device versus the Galaxy S3, which is powered by a 1.5 gigahertz Snapdragon S4 dual-core CPU. That said, the combination of Exynos and 4G LTE when it hits the States is going to be absolutely great. Been really impressed with that. And of course, the software features as well on this device. Really enjoying the blocking mode capability. That's a nice little thing. Reminds me of Do Not Disturb on the iPhone. Blocking mode is great because you can come in and disable incoming calls, notifications, you can set a timer, and more. Been really impressed across the board with that functionality. Nice to have those features. And of course, things like palm swipe to take a screenshot. You can also press and hold the pen, the little button on the S Pen, and take screenshots that way. And obviously the big display. Loving the fact that it's not a pen tile display this time around. The fact that it's pinch to zoom, relatively responsive, no lag whatsoever because of the quad-core Exynos processor and because of a great display. Makes it for great, in terms of web browsing, or great stuff, when it comes to looking at videos. And of course, combined with the S Pen, I can hover over things, and if there's a preview available, for example, in the gallery, I can look at it through the gallery, or for example, if I'm hovering over something, a YouTube video, for example, or a video rather, I should say, in my video folder, I can take advantage of that hover functionality. Very cool there, really impressed with that feature. So, still putting it to the test, been overall impressed with call quality. It's been relatively decent. The earpiece is nice and loud. I've been on several calls, and I've been really impressed there. And like the Galaxy S3, it has that ability to be the auto turn up, if you will, where I can click that button and it makes an already loud earpiece even louder, kind of like a sound boost, if you will, on the Galaxy Note 2. Really impressed with that. Speakerphone's nice and loud on this device, and like I said, battery life is really impressive all around thanks to a 3,100 milliamp hour battery pack. So overall, S Pen functionality is great. I love the Page Buddy system, which you saw maybe when I pulled out the S Pen. You'll notice that it says S Pen has been detached, and it brings up this Page Buddy automatically. Now it does this for headphones, it does this for the S Pen as well, and it's a really useful thing because it's almost like a secondary home screen that pops up and says, okay, look, you're probably going to use these applications, and not only will you see these in the bottom near the dock, but you'll also see these in the notifications bar with the recommended shortcuts. You'll see things like Gallery, Messaging, Haytel, which is an application that I use, and of course the ability to compose stuff using the S Pen functionality. So overall, really impressive all around on this device. We're 8 days in, still got 30 days in this challenge. Stay tuned to see what else I find in my Galaxy Note 2 30-day challenge. In the meantime, hit me up on Twitter, PhoneDog_Aaron, on Twitter, Facebook, Facebook.com/PhoneDogAB. Let me know what you want to see on this device. And just because I haven't gotten to it in day 8 doesn't mean that I'm not going to get to it at all. I've actually mapped out what I want to cover in each video as time goes on and I get a little bit more hands-on time with something because I want to give you the most accurate viewpoint possible after a couple of days of working with things. So keep sending that stuff in, but again, if you've already sent it, don't worry, I've got most of it written down, and if I saw it, I'll do my best to cover it in a future video. Keep it locked on PhoneDog.com for continuing coverage of the Samsung Galaxy Note 2 30-day challenge, and I'll see you back here towards the end of the week for the next 30-day challenge video.